FightSaga.com presents Real Boxing with legendary fight trainer Ronnie Shields.
Guys, welcome back indeed. And happy Tuesday to everyone, guys. It's that time once again for our, and this time, it's our huge preview for Fury versus Wilder 3 with legendary fight trainer, the one and only, Mr. Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, how the heck are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Well, I tell you what. Oh, boy. I tell you what. And right now, guys, are the grand arrivals happening at the MGM Grand. And, you know, we had Javen, our brother Javen, Sugar Hill Stewart, head trainer for Tyson Fury this past Sunday. And I asked him, well, are you looking forward to the grand arrival? And he said, arriving where? We're already here in Vegas, and we're not going to be staying at the MGM Grand. It's almost like he is just ready for the fight to be over with. Coach, is that how you and pretty much most fight fans feel at this point?
Absolutely. You know, this fight been on and off, on and off. You know, it's always something. But, you know, I think, got just only a few days for it. And I think people are ready for it to get it over with.
Indeed, Coach, indeed. And before we move forward, I want to say shout out to my brother AJ. Thank you for always being a part of the program. And we want to thank you for joining us. Well, I'm sure you guys have it split screen. You've got Coach Ronnie on one side of your screen as well as the grand arrivals on the other. Please let us know if anything exciting happens. Also want to give a shout out to Holy JJ. Always great to see Joseph bringing the best boxing show on YouTube for us right here. You know what? Thank you so much for saying that. But this would not be the best boxing show on YouTube without the counsel of legendary fight trainer Ronnie Shields. Thank you for tuning in, guys. But I tell you what, this entire show is going to be devoted to all the festivities happening this week and this weekend, live from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's finally upon us. The overrated to overstated Wilder versus Fury 3, the trilogy, the fight that will not go away. My word. And we're going to go over the odds, guys. We're going to get Coach Ronnie's strategies, keys to victory, what he thinks about this. And we're also going to get at the very end of the show, guys, and I'm going to make you wait for it, his official final prediction. So, guys, thank you for staying tuned with us. But, Coach, I have to tell you right out of the gate, and once again, let me rattle off the tell the tape for you, okay? Because once again, both men, they haven't fought since February 22nd of 2020. We're in October 2021. Which fighter, if you had to actually guesstimate, right? Which fighter does this hurt? Which fighter does this help? Who has the advantage here after such a long layoff?
Well, for me, I think Deontay Wilder had the advantage because of the layoff. You know, I think it helped him more because, you know, since he fired his trainer, Mark Breland, you know, it gave him a lot more time to get familiar with his new trainer, Malik Scott. You know, Malik has always been there with Deontay, but not in a head trainer role. So the role is different. And when the role is different, everything becomes different. So he got to get accustomed to the things that Malik wanted him to do. And so I think it helped him to get a lot more time to spend with Deontay and Malik, between them. I think it really helped them out a lot. And, I think they really know each other really well now. And I think they know what each other expect from the other.
Indeed. And this is what Deontay Wilder had to say about the delay, Coach, because you're very insightful. He says, quote, "The delay was a blessing. a blessing for me. You know, the more they delayed it, the more time we had to work on our craft and art and to go over even more strategically. Go over the game plan that we're going to have on October 9th. So, you know, it was a time of frustration because as a fighter, I just want to fight. But, and this is the longest I've been out of the ring. So I'm anxious to get back in, but it was just something about it. You know, I never wanted to give up, never wanted to quit. And now we spent this time working on how to beat Tyson Fury. Looking forward now to October the 9th, end quote. So, yeah, very insightful, Coach. And let me tell you, not the only one who noticed any of this. David Hay thinks, the Haymaker. He also said, well, yeah, Deontay Wilder and new coach Malik Scott have been working hard, but who hasn't seemingly been working hard is the reigning WBC champ, Tyson Fury. David Hay said this, quote, everybody is completely writing off Wilder for this third fight. I haven't spoken to anyone who thinks he has a shot in this fight. I don't see it that way. I've seen Fury not preparing like he did the second time around. There were the well-publicized rumors about the fight being delayed because preparation wasn't going all that well. He only got into Vegas late September. 3-week training camp for a fight of this magnitude? Maybe there's some overconfidence. He is so supremely confident from the second fight, he thinks it can roll into this third fight and it'll be a home run. I don't see it that way. End quote. Coach, your thoughts on David Hay's comments? Could he be right this Saturday?
Yes, he could be right. You know, look, I think with Fury, whether he had COVID or not, you know, that's still a debate up in the air, whether he had it or not. But, you know, if he did have it, that means he had to take time off. And, you know, and then still trying to get back. You know, it doesn't take long to get out of shape. It takes a hell of a long time to get in shape, but it takes no time to get out of shape. And if he, you know, if he needed more time or whatever, you know, because there's a lot of rumors going around say, he, you know, he couldn't prove that, you know, that he had COVID. But, you know, that doesn't matter right now. What matters right now is we know that Deontay Wilder is in great shape. We don't know the kind of shape that Tyson Fury is in. But, you know, I did see some sparring of him and W.A.W. And, you know, he looked okay. He didn't look great, but he looked okay. And, you know, but the thing about that is, you know, I know Wilder, you know, he's different now. You know, just looking and listening to everything he's been talking about and saying. And you know, they're showing you only some stuff that they're doing on the pads and stuff like that.
Of course.
But I know he's been working hard. And, you know, and I know he had 3 good sparring partners with him. So, you know, I really think Wilder perhaps may be in the best shape of his life. And I'm not sure about Wilder. But you can never underestimate Fury. Because Fury, you know, he snuck up on Wilder the second fight. But, you know, and I know he can't sneak up on this fight. But early on is going to be the test for Wilder. Can he withstand what Fury has early? For me, I think the later the fight goes, the better Wilder's chances are.
Did you just say the later the fight goes, the better Wilder's chances are?
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I tell you what, we'll go into that a little bit later. Want to give a shout out to my brother, IOTBA, Corey Bradshaw. Thank you for joining us. It's been a minute, sir. God bless you, and it's excellent talking to you today, my friend. Missed you, man. So I'll he says, Coach, seek it, believe it, receive it. You know what, man? I thought of a cheeseburger a minute ago. It didn't just appear in my hands. I'm starving. But thank you for joining us, Correa. I appreciate it, brother. And he also says, Joseph and Coach Ronnie, what's up? It's good to see you, brother. Now, Holy JJ comments this. He says, given that Wilder, coach, is seen by most as only a puncher rather than a boxer puncher, I'd like to know whether Coach Ronnie thinks whether or not Wilder can actually outbox Fury over 12 rounds. Now, Coach, before you answer that, do you think it would be wise after what we just saw between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk? And do you think Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder believe something like that? Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if he can outbox him. I think he has to knock him out. That's the only way he's going to win. And I think early on, he knows Fury is going to come straight at him early on. He has to weather the storm early. If he weathers the storm early, then in about 4 or 5 rounds, he can switch that around. And then he has to be the aggressor. But he has to do it behind that good jab he has that he doesn't use. He can't just look for the one punch. If he throws punches in combinations like I've been seeing him doing on the pads, he has a great chance to knock Fury out. But he can't get down too many rounds early because then the confidence switches over to Fury. Fury is going to be confident coming in because he knows he had to jump on Wilder from the bell. And he's going to come for the first 3 or 4 rounds. If Wilder can at least win 1 or 2 rounds out of the first 3 rounds, I think Fury is going to be in trouble.
I'll tell you what, that's really interesting, Coach, and thank you for your question. Holy JJ, appreciate it, brother. Our brother AJ comments, when you got power, who needs skill?
Deontay Wilder needs skill.
Thank you for that, Coach. Amen, brother. And our brother Rhino Singleton, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. And he says, follow-up question to Holy JJ, and I think you just answered this, right? And please talk about the importance of establishing and working behind an intelligent jab, Coach, because Ryan asks, he says, does Wilder need to outbox Fury, or does he need new and better ways to set up the right hand?
Yes, he does need new and better ways to set up the right hand. Wilder has always had a good jab. And I know that's one thing Mark Breland always worked on with Wilder was his jab. But Wilder, when he started knocking people out with the right hand, he forgot about the jab. And he just start going crazy, just started to hit people with one punch. And everybody was just looking for that. But luckily for him, he was able to get it in with everybody except for Fury in the last fight. But now, now it looks like, he's using the jab more. Now it looks like he was hitting the heavy bag, which I know he never did before. So now, now he understands the heavy bag is a very important part of training, and so, but he needs to set up the right hand behind the jab. But when he throw the right hand, he needs to mix it up. He needs to throw it to the body. He needs to throw it on the arms. And then when Fury drops his hands, come over the top. But he can't just aim for the chin the whole night because it's not going to be there. You got to hit Fury in different spots in order to make the right hand work for him.
Very well said, Coach. Very well said. Now, let me ask you, you were talking about using the heavy bag as an important and invaluable tool while training. Coach, what do you prefer? Working pads or shadow boxing? What is more important when assessing a fighter's, strengths and weaknesses, on pads or watching him shadow box in the ring?
On pads. The pads is the best thing in the sport of boxing. If you're teaching, doing the pads that's the way to teach. You can teach everything on the pads. Shadow boxing is hard to teach anything shadow boxing, but on the pads, you got you can pick spots to hit.
Mm.
And that's what Wilder had to do in this fight. He has to pick his spots. He can't aim for the chin the whole time. Once you aim for the chin the whole time, Fury is going to start countering that. And then he's going to get away from a lot of shots. But, of course, Wilder can get lucky. But I think with the jab, you got to mix your spots up with the jab and then mix your spots up with your right hand. And then he ain't going to know where the shot is going or where it's coming from. And I think that's going to land for Wilder. And look, Wilder has every advantage in the world with his right hand. But it doesn't mean anything if he doesn't set it up.
Indeed, indeed. Boy, you've got to tell you what, the jab, and once again, the late great Emmanuel Stewart used to always profess that the jab was the most important punch in boxing. Not only does it set up your entire arsenal of shots, but it's also your first line of defense.
Absolutely.
So I tell you what, Mr. IOTBA, he's I guess referring to something that you stated earlier, Coach. You said, how did Fury sneak up on Wilder in the second fight? Please explain, Coach Ronnie.
Well, Fury, I'm sure they watched the first fight, and they watched how Wilder came out looking for one punch. So he decided, you know what? Fury backed up a lot in the first fight. So he decided, you know what? They're going to think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to back up. But when the bell ring, I'm going to put the pressure on him. First thing he did was he gained a lot of weight. So, and then Wilder and them knew he gained a lot of weight. So what they do with Wilder? They put weight on Wilder. Now, why would you put weight on a guy who's faster to make him slower? That was the biggest mistake in the world. Okay? But Fury knew that, and he just jumped on top of Wilder. He didn't give Wilder any room to punch. And when you have a puncher who can't hit you, you know what happens? His confidence goes way down.
That's
really, really low. And that's the difference between the first fight and the second fight.
Very, very well said, Coach Ronnie. Tell you what, nuggets of wisdom, guys. Pearls of wisdom here. Our brother Minnie Mill joins us. Thank you so much for joining us always, Minnie Mill, for being a part of the show. God bless you, brother. Also, thank you, Dragon Leg, for always joining us. And also, Coach Malachi from New Media Today, U.S. Boxing. Thank you for joining us, brother. God bless you. On our brother Muhammad. Salute, Joseph. Salute, Coach Shields. Salute to you, my friend. I tell you what, now, Coach, we're going to look at the variable of the mental edge. Who has the mental edge? And I'm going to ask you, Coach, and this is the layoff, not only in terms of adding those new wrinkles to your fight game, but has enough time elapsed between from now and his first professional and one-sided, dare I say, embarrassing loss, right? Has enough time elapsed to where he's completely put it behind him?
Absolutely. The thing about it is, being an ex-fighter myself, you have to let the past be the past, and you have to move forward. And, and I think, that's probably one of the reasons why my brilliant isn't there now. It probably will remind Wilder of too much of the past. So now he has a future in front of him with Malik Scott. He feels comfortable with Malik. You can see that. And look, he understands now that what he really has to do. This is boxing. If you have to be 100% ready at all times when you step into that ring, you have to know in your mind that you've done everything you could to prepare to win this fight. So you have to let the past go. And now, and I think now he's going to, go in there with a different mindset than he had last time.
Indeed. So talking about the mental part of it, and once again, the primary reason why I asked that, Coach, is because of all of the nonsense, all of the excuses that he's been coming up with. And he's had seemingly a hard time reconciling all of that. And I'll read some quotes, right? From Deontay Wilder, right? He said, quote, quote, even on my worst night and his best night, he still couldn't get me out of there. People try to label it as a knockout, but no, he didn't knock me out. That's a stoppage because of a weak individual in my team who threw in the towel. If you want to say anyone knocked someone out, I'm the one who knocked him out. I've already knocked him out in the first fight. I'm sure he replays that in his head over and over. That's why he's so brave to say I'm the most dangerous. I am. He knows it. I know it. And that's a fact. I ended the fight on my feet. It's the difference between the knockout and someone ending it on their feet, you know? I'm just looking forward to this time around, and I'm going to knock him out, and he knows it. End quote. Coach, I don't know about that.
Well, okay. Let me say this, right? I agree with Wilder that it was past a 10 count. He got the 10 count, but the referee did a terrible job with his count. Okay, so as a fighter, you need every leverage you can get in your head that's going to help you when you're about to step into that ring. And that's going to be a thing for Wilder. He knows if I hit him perfectly, I can knock him out. Now, it was a different stoppage with him and Fury. Fury didn't knock him out, you know, walk through the tower in and stop it, which anybody with sense would have did the same thing. So, but a fighter has to get in his head. He has to think positive. He, you know, and you have to turn the negative into a positive. So that's what he's doing with himself right now. He's saying, you know what, look, he didn't knock me out. The fight got stopped by my corner, but I actually knocked him out. So now his brain is telling him, yes, you won this fight by knockout. You know, so and look, a fighter needs every bit of confidence he can get.
Absolutely.
You know, because nothing, you know, is going to guarantee you that you're going to win. So you need every bit of confidence that you can get in order to step into that ring and be confident that you can win.
Let me ask you something, Coach. What is it like? And I know you've had to deal with this many times. What is it like as a head trainer? And I mean, you've got to wear so many different hats as a head trainer. Psychologist, mentor, best friend. I mean, it's exhausting, I'm sure. Oh, by the way, Mr. IOTBA says, great point, Coach. Yes, all of these are nuggets, guys, and I hope you all appreciate this. Ryan Singleton also says, great analysis, Coach. So I'm going to ask you, Coach, what is it like trying to put Humpty Dumpty back together again when dealing with a fighter's psyche?
Yeah, the good, and let's go back to how much time Deontay had to prepare for this fight. So, so you have to do it in stages. You can't just go and right away just put a game plan together. You know, you have to do it in stages because, you work a little bit on one thing, then you work a little bit on another thing, and you work a little bit on another thing, then you put it all together. And then you try it in the ring with your sparring partners. And then you see that. And if it's working, trust me, this guy, he's gonna come earlier the next day because, hey man, I feel good. Let's do this again. Let's do this again. And that's the thing that builds the confidence in a fighter. So, you have to put things together. And then when he start boxing and it's working, oh my God, that's the best thing in the world for a boxer's psyche. You know, man, this works. This actually works. You know, and and then he'll start paying more attention to his head coach and start listening. He'll be laser focused on what his coach is telling him because now he understands that this is what I have to do. I feel good about doing it. I had a lot of time to do it. Now, the only thing is that ring walk and get inside of that ring. Two things can happen. Right away, you can forget everything and just think about your right hand and I'm going to knock him out. That's all I'm going for tonight. Or you're going to be smart and think about that all the days that you've had in the gym with your trainer. And now this is the time to prove it, to show it, to believe it, and get out there and do it.
Well said, Coach Ronnie. Something tells me you've done this before. We appreciate your wisdom, sir. Thank you so much, and we're all the wiser for it. Mr. IOTBA says this breakdown is priceless. Yes, it is. And it's priceless for you right now for the low bargain basement price of nothing just for joining us on YouTube. God bless you, brother. And he says, we appreciate you breaking down the entire situation, Coach. And excellent leading questions, Joseph. Well, Coach Ronnie makes it very easy for me. We want to thank Wayne Hennessy for joining us as usual. Thank you for always being a part of the program, brother. Salute, Joseph and Coach Shields. Coach, well, as you just talked about the delicate and time-consuming building process, guess who's trying to break it down in just 1 week? Tyson Fury. He had this to say about, well, all of the claims about Tyson Fury. He said, well, all the cheating claims and, yeah, I got knocked out or I got knocked out and he didn't get knocked out. Yeah, it's making him delusional. He had this to say, quote, we've boxed 19 rounds and he's practically won 2 out of the 19. With Wilder, in my opinion, he's come out with all this stuff saying I've cheated, whether he believes it or not. That's another thing, but he has to try and sell the fight somehow. He has to try and make a reason why he could win. So he clearly couldn't do the reasons why in a boxing fight, so he has to make other reasons for himself. For the people around him who are saying he can do this, he can't do that. If he went into this fight saying, you know what? I got absolutely annihilated the second time. It's probably going to happen to me again. Then his mental attitude would definitely be of a loss straight away. But if he's convinced himself that there's been some skullduggery going on, maybe he thinks in his own mind that he's got a better chance or something. You know what? I'm here to tell you, I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to cheat again, Wilder. We did it. It was all a big conspiracy. Me, JD's, Mark Breland, the rest of his team, all in on it. You're not safe anywhere, Deontay. We can get to you anywhere, MF. All his team are on my payroll, end quote. Boy, I tell you what, there's nothing like fight week, brother. And you know what? I can say this. Boy, Tyson Fury is a smart man, and he's a maniacal one and a diabolical one. And I'll say this. Deontay Wilder would be wise to wear his beats again to tomorrow's final press conference. Your final thoughts on this before we start talking about odds, sir?
Well, I think Tyson Fury, he's trying to get back in Wilder's head. He's trying to let Wilder not forget what happened in the second fight. And, and Wilder had to get that out of his mind. He had to let that fight go. He can't. I'm telling you, Fury's going to jump right on top of him when the bell rings. Man, Wilder just have to, he has to have a plan for that. And I'm sure they've been working on not letting Fury lean on him. If he lets Fury lean on him, it's going to be a problem. Because if he let Fury put his weight on him, then he's going to exhaust himself like he did in the second fight. So and I'm sure they've worked on Wilder getting away from that. Don't let Fury lean on you. Don't let him put all that weight on you, because then what you do is you try to fight yourself for getting out of that, and all of a sudden you're killing yourself, you're hurting yourself, you're wearing yourself down. So Wilder has to be smart. It's okay to give away a couple rounds. You have 12. It's okay to give away the first couple rounds. Just see what he's going to do. Be smart. Try to win at least 1 or 2 rounds in the first 4. Then go to work on him. And I guarantee you, Wilder can win by knockout.
I tell you what. You know what, Coach? Before this show, admittedly, I wasn't all that thrilled about watching this fight. But now, after listening to your keys to victory and your strategy, Saturday can't come soon enough, guys. I tell you what, this is going to be a tremendous, hopefully, finale to this heavyweight trilogy between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Guys, it's going to be for $80 on ESPN and Fox pay-per-view. Guys, highly recommend that you guys invest in it, because not only is a main event, well, an historic one, all 3 undercard fights on the pay-per-view portion of the the televised portion of the pay-per-view is going to be fantastic. Before we get to the preliminary bouts, we go to the boards one more time. Mr. IOTBA says, Coach, do you think Wilder's going to forget everything when he steps in the ring, referring back to what you were talking about, Coach?
Well, I don't know Wilder that well. I mean, I know him, but I don't know him that well. The thing about it is, when you're training and when his trainer's talking to him, he just has to stay in his ear and remind him to stick with the game plan. That's all you can do as a trainer. As a fighter, you have to remember that nobody can make you do anything. You have to want this. And you know what? Just listen to Deontay and just, looking at him, I really believe he wants this fight bad. But he has to do it the smart way. He can't just go out there and throw punches and expect to hit him and knock him out. It don't work that way. He has to just do it smart. But, I've seen both sides. I've seen guys come back from losing to a fighter to come back and win impressively. But I've seen guys, they melted down when they walked into the ring. So it happens. So, I think everybody, the world is going to be watching to see what Deontay Wilder is going to show up on Saturday night.
Indeed, guys, and we're all going to be watching. Holy JJ says, Team Wilder ought to listen to all of this. Well, I can guarantee you my brother Javen is going to be listening to all of this. Coach Muhammad says, Coach, did you notice Wilder's eyes during the second fight? The way they looked funny and the overall impression that his legs were going from the first bell. Did you notice any of that, Coach Ronnie?
I did notice that. And, the crazy thing about it is, why would you put on this heavy uniform to get into the ring? I mean, I've seen a lot of things.
Excuse me.
That had to be one of the craziest things in the world. And, I really and truly believe Wilder didn't train as hard for the second fight as he did for the first fight. So, there's a lot of factors that have to come into play for when you get a result like you did in the second fight. I think he's lived it, he's learned it, and now I really truly believe he's going to be better.
We shall see, guys. We can't wait. Peter joins us for the first time tonight. Thank you for joining us, Peter from Tijuana. He says, nobody gives Wilder a chance. He was also the heavyweight champion. I think we're going to see a totally different fight this time. Thank you for joining us, Peter. My brother, Coach Malachi, says, salute Coach Ronnie. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Dragonleg says, Joe, you deserve more subscribers. Thank you, Dragonleg. I appreciate that, brother. So, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe and please click that like button. God bless all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. I haven't done this one in years. Uh, Joseph, we need a fake Teddy Atlas prediction. All right, I tell you what, if you hang on and stay tuned for Fact or Fiction, right? I promise I will do my Teddy Atlas prediction because I think Teddy Atlas might actually be included in this week's Fact or Fiction. Just a preview, guys. Just a preview. Dragon Leg says $50 is good. $80 though. Well, the undercard is good. Yes, the undercard is great. No Paul Boxianos joins us. It's worth it. Just split the bill with someone. Very wise words, sir. Very wise words. And now that COVID, well, now that everyone's vaccinated, guys, at least I hope you guys are. Guys, there's no problem with inviting people over to your house once again. Come on now. So let's look at the preliminary bouts. Coach, in the first preliminary bout, we've got Jared Anderson versus Vladimir Tereshkin in an 8-round battle of undefeated heavyweights. Coach, what are your thoughts very quickly about Jared Anderson, and is he the truth?
Jared Anderson is the truth. I've seen this kid when I was training FL Jogba. He came and sparred with a Jogba, and I mean, he beat a Jogba up every day. Every day they spar. You know, so this guy is the truth, you know. And I don't know the opponent, though. I've never seen the opponent before, so I don't know anything about him. But let me tell you something. This kid, Jared Anderson, in the next 2 years, this guy is going to definitely have a chance to win the heavyweight championship of the world because he has all the tools that it takes to win the heavyweight championship.
Yeah, you know what, Coach? That seems to be the consensus. In fact, Javen just stated on my Sunday show that Jared Anderson has been Tyson Fury's secret weapon during camp. Whatever that means, well, we look forward to seeing it on Saturday. But to answer your question, Coach, Vladimir Tereshkin,
Yes.
I think he actually washed my car the other day.
Okay.
So we look forward to an interesting 8-round bout and a showcase for Jared Anderson. Now in the second bout, Coach, this is one I'm really looking forward to. And it's going to be a return bout scheduled for 12 rounds of action. Robert Helenius is going to fight Adam Kaunaki in a highly anticipated rematch. Wow, Coach, your thoughts on this is, let me just share this with you because this is very interesting. Did you know that the odds makers have Adam Kaunaki as a 3-1 betting favorite over the guy who knocked him out last time, Robert Helenius, who's sitting at a plus 220? Ronnie, please make that one make sense for me, sir.
Hey, man, I don't know what they was looking at. You saw the first fight.
Yep.
And what makes you think the second fight is not going to be the same? I mean, look, what is Adam going to do? Adam is not a boxer. Adam is a guy who comes forward, he throws punches, you know, and he's not a one-punch knockout kind of guy.
Nope.
You know, and Helenius, you know, he just put it on him in the first fight. I mean, there was no ifs, ands, and buts about the decision of what Helenius wanted to do. And he wanted to knock him out. And he went for it. So, you know, the thing about it is I don't see that Helenius had to do anything different. Kronacki, he has to do, I mean, I don't even know what he has to do. Because he's not a boxer.
Nope.
He's a guy that comes straight forward that you don't have to look for. He's going to be right there. Helenius, if he wants to be on the outside and box, he can do that. But his best bet is to fight in close because that's where he had all the success the last fight.
Yep.
And, you know, and it's not like he caught Adam by surprise because, you know, it is what it is. But I just don't see, I don't see any difference in the second fight.
So, guys, the sexy bet if you want to win some long green, put it on Robert Hellenius, who is shockingly at BetMGM, Las Vegas, Nevada, is shockingly at a plus 220.
Wow.
That means if you bet $1,000 on Robert Hellenius, you win $2,200. Wow. You know what? Those are some crazy odds, Coach. And I tell you what, you've got to be crazy not to take advantage of that. That's the Fight Saga. Sexy Bet of the Night. And I'll say this. If you said you don't know what he has to do, I'll start with this. He needs to stop blocking punches with his face. That's a good start, Coach.
That's a great start.
In your co-main event of the evening, we've got Big Efe Ajagba, 15-0, taking on undefeated Frank Sanchez, 18-0, in a battle of styles, battle of power, battle of wit. Coach, you know what? I know you spent a lot of time with this guy, Efe Ajagba, but something tells me that Frank Sanchez is going to neutralize that right hand, or does Efe Ajagba possess something more than just a right hand?
Well, Efe has a good jab when he uses it. I've always stressed that with him when I was training him. And, and just watching a couple of his last fights, he seemed to forget about that and only concentrating more on his right hand. Because, again, he's like Wilder, he depends too much on trying to knock you out with the one punch, But with Frank Sanchez, when I was training him, Frank Sanchez was on our radar because he called Efe out. He's been calling Efe out for about 4 years now, about 3 years now.
Wow.
And he was one of the guys that we was looking at. We was going to get him. And I know then, Efe was going to knock him out. I did. But the thing about it is, if Efe comes out, uses his jab, and just lure him to sleep with that good jab he has, and then surprise him with that right hand, Efe can win by knockout. I'm not sure Frank Sanchez is a big puncher. Now,
he doesn't seem to be, Coach.
No. So I don't think he can really hurt Efe. So if he can't hurt Efe, then Efe has to take advantage of the boxing skills that he has. And Efe can box on the outside. He can even put pressure on you, with that good right hand he has. But, he has to throw uppercuts also. He can't just throw jabs and right hands and expect to win that fight. He has to do more. And he has to punch in combination. If Efe punches in combination, Efe knocks him out. I don't see Efe losing this fight. I really and truly don't see him losing this fight. Not that it can't happen, but I just think that he has to be smart. Box on the outside at the beginning. Let Frank come in, because Frank can't hurt him from the outside. Frank has to be close. And Efe, he needs that range. If Efe can get him at range and hit him with that right hand, Efe Ajagba is going to knock him out.
And there it is, guys. So if you want to know Coach Ronnie's sexy bet, that's it, guys. Because right now, according to most racing sports books, Frank Sanchez is surprisingly a 2-1 betting favorite. So, guys, if you want to make a little money, Efe Ajagba plus 135 to 165 on most racing sports books. There it is from Coach Ronnie. Mr. Ryan Singleton also already once again says, actually, a compelling undercard. Yes, it is. They're getting my $80 in large part due to the undercard, sir. I'll admit that. Dragon Leg says, I'm picking the Nigerian Nightmare, Efe Ajagba. Wait a minute. Wasn't that Sam Peters' nickname also?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I tell you what, guys.
Ajagba
go ahead,
didn't want
sir.
to be called that. Ajagba didn't want to be called that. So I gave him the name, the one and only.
Ah, and there it is. There it is, the one and only. Minnie Mill says, Frank Sanchez would like for him to win to be the first Cuban heavyweight champ? Well, he's got a ways to go before he gains that distinction first. But let's see if he can get Jagba, shall we? I tell you what, guys, it's that time once again. Are you ready, Coach, for another edition of Fact or Fiction?
Let's do it.
All right, Coach. Number one, during tomorrow's final presser for Fury Wilder 3, Deontay Wilder will once again wear his beats and refuse to talk to the mainstream media. Fact or fiction?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think I'm gonna say fiction on this one because
Wow.
I think he don't want to have any signs of last time to be present this time. You know, I think he has to get away from that. You know, he has to face the media, and he has to do it and really listen and pay attention to everything that's going on. You know, because putting the headphones in and not listening to everybody talk, you know, it looks bad on him. You know, it looks like it might happen again to him if he does that. So I think he want to erase the past, and I think he will not put the headphones in this time.
You know what? It's hard to disagree with you. Oh, Ryan Singleton. Now going back to the nickname, moniker, Nigerian Nightmare, that's also Christian Okoye's nickname, the original.
Yeah.
You know what, brother? That's a deep cut from the Kansas City Chiefs. Holy cow. I love it. Thanks, Ryan. So let's go. Coach number 2. Are you ready, sir?
Let's do it.
Deontay Wilder will get DQ'd in the mid to late rounds a la Andrew Galata after getting outboxed and discouraged throughout the first half of this Saturday's trilogy. Fact or fiction, Coach?
Fiction. I don't see it happening. I really don't. Now, it can make it happen on the other side. I think Deontay can really frustrate Fury into doing some crazy stuff and get DQ'd. But I think Deontay is so focused in this fight that, you know, I don't think people are really looking at him and seeing anything different in him. But I see a lot of difference in him right now. And I really and truly believe that, you know, mentally he's stronger than he was the last fight. But, you know, and I'm not so sure about Fury. I'm telling you, I'm not so sure about Fury.
Wow, I tell you what, we'll find out for sure this Saturday night, October 9th. Look forward to that. Number 3, Coach, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Fact or fiction? Teddy Atlas just jinxed Deontay Wilder in the trilogy by once again picking the Bronze Bomber to win by knockout. Fact or fiction? Now, before I get your response, Coach, the reason why I'm saying this among boxing diehards, and I don't know if this has gotten back to you, but among boxing fans and journalists, there's something that floats around every big fight called the Teddy Atlas jinx. Because Teddy has a knack, and it defies all logic, because Teddy, well, he's super knowledgeable. He knows the fight game. He's great at developing strategy and breaking things down. But for some strange reason, if his life depended on it, he could not pick a winner. Right? Okay, so once again, let me just rattle off to you a list of fights that he's gotten wrong. And I'll start with Anthony Joshua. He picked the knockout, Alexander Usyk, right? In the rematch between Wilder and Fury, he picked Wilder by knockout. In Pacquiao versus Mayweather, he picked Pacquiao by knockout. This is, quite frankly, I've got a list of like 50 fights here, Coach. He picked Margarito over Pacquiao. He picked Cotto over Margarito in their first meeting. He picked De La Hoya over Mayweather. He picked Mosley over Cotto, Tony Thompson over Vlad Klitschko, Ricardo Mayorga over De La Hoya, Margarito over Shane Mosley. He picked Jermaine Taylor over Kelly Pavlik. It goes on and on and on and on, Coach. Now this is what kind of jinx he is, Coach. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. This is shocking.
Okay.
He picked Manny Pacquiao over Tim Bradley in their first meeting, and then he picked Tim Bradley over Manny Pacquiao in their second meeting. If that isn't the Teddy Atlas jinx, I don't know what is, sir. So in this yesterday, just yesterday, we recorded his podcast. Guess who he picked to win this Saturday?
Wow.
He said this, maybe I'm just a little sentimental, but I think Deontay Wilder has learned from that second fight, and I think he's going to knock him out in the mid to late rounds. Boom! And there it is. There's Teddy's prediction, sir.
Well, it's time for Teddy to get one right. You can't be wrong all the time. You got to be right at least one time. So, I think Teddy's going to be right this time.
So you think that's a big fiction?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, very good. I tell you what, you know what, and what's silly is I rewrite this story like once every year or so, and I swear to you, Coach, he never gets it right, and I always put the article out before the big fight happens.
Right.
So you know what, guys, maybe there's something to it. The Teddy Atlas jinx. So hold on real quick. Hold on. Let's see this. I don't even know what this means. Brother James, thank you for joining us, sir. He says, is Joseph Heron related to Errol's white granddad, Daniel Heron? You got me, Ace. Seeing that I'm puro Mexicano, that's highly doubtful, sir. I may sound white over the radio, but Coach, come on, tell him I've got that big beaner face. Ryan Singleton says, fantastic, Joseph. Just like old times, isn't it?
That's right.
If Wilder, Holy JJ says, if Wilder loses this time, then he can probably go ahead and blame Teddy Atlas. Guys, that's who I'm blaming. I mean, hey, if it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, guess what?
I think Fury might have paid Teddy to make that prediction.
Oh, you know what? That wouldn't surprise me. How many ways can you get into Deontay Wilder's head? Let me count.
That's right.
Number 4, Coach. Referee Mark Ortega will officially announce his retirement from the sport immediately following Fury versus Wilder 3 after catching too many elbows and headbutts while trying to separate both behemoths this Saturday night. Fact or fiction, Coach?
That could be a fact. They might want to have another referee on standby because, they might swing and knock him out. And, definitely got to have maybe 1 or 2 referees on standby just in case.
I tell you what, Coach, I think that is very possibly a forecast of how this fight may turn out. Yeah, I think it's going to be, once maybe Tyson Fury doesn't have the kind of success he thought he did, maybe from mid to long range, you know what? When the cards are down or when he's down on the scorecards, when he's not doing as well, what does he always do? Boy, he turns it into a dogfight. You might see that happen. Very insightful, Coach. Our brother Peter says, Coach Ronnie, do you think Fury versus Wilder is up there with Ali versus Norton, Ali versus Frazier, Holyfield versus Bo? Okay, Peter, I love you, brother. Thank you for always tuning in.
I think so, Peter.
Come on, brother. And you know what? Coach is being nice by saying that. God bless you, Peter. Thank you so much for tuning in, though, brother, and always being a part of the program, sir. God bless you, brother. Let's go to the next one, Coach. Number 5. The eventual loser this Saturday night will retire from boxing in 2022. Fact or fiction, Coach?
I think that's a fiction. I just don't see it. You know, uh, I think it depends on how the loser loses.
Mm.
If it's a knockout, if Wilder gets knocked out, it's a strong possibility that he can retire. If Fury gets knocked out, I think it's a definite possibility that he's going to retire. But it's man, these guys are fighters, and you know, if it ends in a decision, definitely both guys are going to continue.
You know
But I
what,
think it
Coach? I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir,
no
as you
no.
were.
But I think if one of them get knocked out, I think they have to take a long look at their career and say, you know what, this is it for me. And I think on both ends, they both have to really sit back and take a long look at it. So that could become a fact.
You know what, Coach? And I think also when you take into consideration the money part of it, think about how much both fighters have earned over the past two fights. I mean, both purses guaranteed have been mammoth.
Yeah.
Both of them making over $20 million. If the person who loses this fight, do you really think they're going to come close to making anywhere near that much in another matchup? And let me ask you something, Coach. How difficult is it to persuade a heavyweight to take the same punishment, to go through the same grueling camp for 10% of their last purse?
Yeah, that's going to be hard.
That's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, let's go to number 6. Coach, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Fact or fiction, Coach? Effie Ajagba and Frank Sanchez will steal the show this Saturday night and put forth a Fight of the Year candidate in which both men floor each other maybe several times in the co-main event. Fact or fiction?
That could be a fact. That could be a fact that they steal the show because because of their styles, and I just, with Frank Sanchez, he's at the same train as Canelo. So just being in that camp, he's going to be a confident guy, and he may get hit and go down, but that's going to make him get up. That's going to he got the shoe heart when you're in that camp. So, and FA, look, FA is a strong-willed guy, so he's not going to just lay down. And he's a warrior, so he's going to get up. So that fight definitely, I think, is going to be the one that steals the show on Saturday night.
You know what, Coach? It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, wow, both guys have holes. Both guys have hard punches. Both guys want to make a name for themselves in this heavyweight division. Yeah, I think we're looking for a great one, Coach. Burger Planet joining us for the first time. Thank you, sir, for being on the show. He says if Fury loses, it's only his first loss. If Wilder loses, he's finished. Boy, those are big ifs, and we'll find out the answer to those on Saturday night. Number 7, Coach, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Fury versus Wilder 3 on ESPN pay-per-view will only generate 400,000 purchases, but will be seen by more than 15 million fans worldwide, courtesy of illegal streaming. Fact or fiction, Coach?
Fiction. I don't see it. I mean, because it's not only on ESPN, it's on Fox pay-per-view also.
Very good point, Coach.
You got 2 different pay-per-views. So, but, some people will be streaming, but I think the majority of people will either buy ESPN pay-per-view or Fox pay-per-view.
Indeed. Gosh, guys, I really hope this one does well because once again, if this one doesn't make money, this will be the second consecutive pay-per-view event on Fox that loses money, guys. Support these events. Purchase these events, guys. Okay? If we want to continuously see this kind of matchmaking, you've got to financially support these events, guys. The fighters, the trainers, everyone involved depends on it, right? If you love your beloved boxing and you want it to love you back, you got to start financially supporting these guys. Fact or fiction, Coach? Can you believe we're already on number 8?
Good.
All right, here we go. Teofimo Lopez will sit out the entire calendar year 2021. Fact or fiction?
Man, that could be a fact. The way
Oh,
things are
boy.
going with those guys right now, with him and
Mhm.
Cambosa. I think Cambosa now, he don't like that they moved the date. Now they're supposed to be, I know the lawyers are involved now. I mean, it's
Jeez.
crazy, man. You know, I don't know what Triller is doing. I mean, you bid on a fight, but you keep putting it off. You keep changing venues, and then they changed the last venue without telling anybody. And the date, they changed the date, and Cambosa got mad, got his lawyers on this thing. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with this fight. Is it going to ever happen?
You know what, Coach? Well, apparently Triller, or I'm sorry, Triller is trying to get George Camboso stripped of his IBF mandatory challenger distinction.
Right.
So, I don't know, Coach. You know what? This is not good, though, for Teofimo Lopez. All of the momentum that he had, all of the momentum he had from being fighter of the year, Ring Magazine's last year. And it was upset of the year, beating Vasyl Lomachenko, performance of the year. I mean, gosh, and now nothing, absolutely nothing. It's just such a shame. Gosh, I tell you what. Minnie Mail says Joseph versus Ronnie on Triller pay-per-view. You know what? Excuse me. I'll say this. If Triller wants a great commentary team, right? Better than Mario Lopez and better than Snoop Dogg, hire Joseph and Ronnie. We'll call the action, guys, from ringside. I'll say that.
That's right.
Coach number 9. Boy, this one's interesting, Coach. Fact or fiction? Oscar Rivas will become the first and only undisputed Bridgerweight champion on October 22nd in Montreal, Canada. Fact or fiction, Coach?
I think it's a fact. I mean, look, with the opponent change, you're getting a last minute opponent now since my boy backed out. I think, Oscar Rivas, he's a good fighter. And anytime you have a replacement, man, it makes you even more confident that because, it is what it is, but, a late replacement, man, is no good. But look, he'll be the first Bridgerweight champion. And, I still don't know what they're going to do with the Cruiserweight division. What did everybody think?
Well, I tell you what, Coach. Yeah, I'm sorry. We might be looking at the first and last undisputed Bridgerweight champion in the history of this wacky sport. Tell you what, it might be one for the archives. We'll see. But let's go before we do our last fact or fiction. Let's go to the comment board very, very quickly. Our brother Wayne Hennessy says Fury looking big. I think he'll bully Wilder. Well, I tell you what, if Wilder's the sharper, more athletic, faster guy, he may have to if he wants to win that fight. Peter, our brother Peter from Tijuana says, if Fury loses by KO, will there be a 4th fight, Coach?
I think whoever wins will not fight the other again. I think that's it. 3 fights is enough. We don't need to have a 4th fight.
You know what? I thought 2 fights were enough.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Our brother Ernest joins us. He says, keep up the good work. Really liking the way you guys gel. Great questions and answers. I'll tell you what, guys, when you get to work with a legend like Coach Ronnie, it's effortless, guys. Thank you, Coach Ronnie, for always joining us every single week. And final comment from Minnie Mill. I love this one, Coach. I might frame this. Teofimo went from being the takeover to be in the layover. Holy cow.
That's a fact.
Oh, that's a fact. Number 10, Coach, are you ready? The final fact or fiction of the night.
Let's do it.
Fact or fiction, Coach. Jason Quigley will shockingly stop Demetrius Andrade to become the new WBO middleweight champion on November 19th. Fact or fiction, Coach?
Fiction. I just don't see it happening. I haven't seen Jason fight in a very long time, but I just don't see it. Demetrius, he's a good fighter, but Jason, I just haven't seen him in a long time, and I just don't see him beat Demetrius Andrade.
I tell you what, if you're Eddie Hearn, do you want to see him get upset, Coach?
Well, Eddie would got to pay him, so and I'm sure he's having a lot of trouble trying, convincing, these people at the zone to keep putting up money for Demetrius, but hey, it's his responsibility, so he got to put him in with somebody.
Well, tell you what, that's what happens when you're a British promoter and aren't familiar with the American fight market and you've got a big checkbook. You signed the wrong guys. Do your homework next time, brother. Thanks for playing, Eddie Hearn. I tell you what, Brother Ray joins us. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. He says, Coach, what are the top 3 boxing workouts?
Oh, man, that's a hard one. Pads are definitely one of the best workouts that any fighter could do. I mean, sparring, pads, and bag work. I mean, that's only 3 boxing workouts that that help you if you're trying to learn this sport.
Well, Coach, talk about when you're a novice and what's the benefit of working that heavy bag. What does it do for your soft hands when you're getting into the sport initially?
Well, I'll tell you a story. When I trained Mike Tyson, right? I've never seen a guy hit a heavy bag the way this guy does. And he'll tell you, look, hitting a heavy bag will make you strong. It will build you up to the point to where you can really feel your power. And that's the reason why I couldn't understand why Deontay Wilder would never hit the heavy bag before. But now I think he got the secret down, that you have to punch the heavy bag. It gives you, it makes you work, and unless you're just a lazy person that just, that barely touches it or whatever, you're not helping yourself. You have to help yourself, and the heavy bag does it for you. It's one of the best bags that you can ever get.
Wow, I tell you what, nuggets, once again, pearls of wisdom from the coach. Oh, Coach, bonus number 11. Last fact or fiction before we hear your official prediction and bid everyone an excellent evening. Fact or fiction, Wilder fans will still be convinced Fury cheated in the second fight, even if Fury stops Deontay again in the trilogy. Fact or fiction?
That's a fact. Look, Wilder and his fans, they're not going to change. They're not going to change that. I've never seen anybody come back and apologize and say, I'm sorry, we were wrong. They're not going to come back and do that. They're going to find another excuse if Wilder gets knocked out. So.
Oh, my word. You know what, Coach? In all your years, have you ever heard, like, not only just these strange excuses from a fighter, right?
Right.
But his, like, cult following, his massive allegiant fans buying into this. Have you ever heard of anything like that in your extensive tenure in boxing?
Only in politics.
Oh, let's not get started on politics.
I know.
See, this is why I'm an independent. I don't talk politics. Yeah. Boxing is enough for me, brother.
Absolutely.
But that's going to just about do it, Coach. And once again, let me just give you some more Fight Saga sexy bets on the main event of the evening, guys. I'll tell you what I do like. In my opinion, very few people, because both fighters are proclaiming and declaring knockout. Guys, don't be surprised if we see the best version of both men, both physically and mentally. Guys, it's not out of the question that this goes to a decision. In my opinion, that's the dark horse bet for Fight Saga. A decision from Tyson Fury is at a plus 275. I like those odds. Guys, that's what I would put my money on. A dark horse decision by Tyson Fury. And also, Coach, do you know how much a first-round knockout by Deontay Wilder earns?
Surprise me.
Plus 5,000, guys. That's a 50-1. If Wilder knocks out Fury in the first round, that might be too difficult to resist, guys. That means if you put down $100, you win 5,000.
That's a good bet.
Isn't that crazy? So, guys, drum roll, please. Coach Ronnie, what is your final prediction for this Saturday night's main event from Las Vegas, Nevada? Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder for a third and final time.
I'm going to go with Deontay Wilder by unanimous decision.
Wow. Deontay Wilder wins a UD. Now, obviously, if he does this, I smell a couple knockdowns throughout the 12-round fight. But, guys, that's not – wow. You know what? I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see a decision at the end of the night, Coach. Obviously, both men are beating their chest about a knockout. But you know what? At this level, Coach, how difficult is it to get a knockout at the elite level?
It's hard, man. It's really hard. You got two guys that really want to be champion. And, and when you got big guys, man, they, look, 6, 7, 8 rounds, these guys are going to be so tired. It's going to be crazy. And don't be surprised if you just see them in the middle of the ring, just standing and looking at each other, waiting on the other to throw a punch. So, I think that's the kind of fight it's going to be. And I think at the end, Wilder going to land the cleaner punches. And this is why I say he's going to win by unanimous decision.
And there you have it, guys. That's Coach Ronnie's official prediction. Oh, is it a conspiracy? Him with Teddy Atlas both picking Deontay Wilder. Just jiving there, Coach. Just jiving. Our brother AJ says the Bronze Panther, Wakanda forever. And there you have it.
That's a good one.
You've got some funny listeners, Coach. I want to thank Run PMC for joining us. He says those odds make the bet worth it. Yes they do, guys. That's why they're the Fight Saga sexy bets of the evening. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Yes, Coach Ronnie going with the Bronze Bomber. Yep. I'll tell you what, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Coach, now, once again, do we go out with El DeBarge, or do we want to pick maybe one of your other exit songs to exit with? Would you like to? What do you think?
Yeah, let's pick another one to go out.
Your choice, Coach. Which one do you want to hear from the 70s?
The one that I didn't want to hear. Let's go with the Fred Sanford.
No. Oh, hey. Okay. I'll give you 3, okay? Jimmy J.J. Walker.
Okay.
SWAT.
Right.
Or Welcome Back, Kotter. Which one do you want to hear, sir?
Let's go with SWAT.
Let's do SWAT. Okay, guys. Coach, your parting shots for our listening audience this evening, sir.
Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show and tune in for the fight on Saturday night.
Very well said, Coach. Guys, big round of applause for Coach Ronnie Shields for always donating his time and wisdom every single Tuesday night. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and please share this show if you really enjoyed it. God bless all of you. On behalf of Coach Ronnie Shields, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields on Warweek Radio. Have a great evening, everybody.
FightSaga.com presents